the Dawgs Podcast with your hosts, Blake Reneker, Justin Charles, and Josh All.
What's up, Browns fans? Welcome back to another episode of the Dawgs Podcast, coming to you virtually here today. Josh has pressed record, so you guys should be seeing our beautiful faces this morning. Well, I guess it's morning for us. Not sure when you guys are going to be watching it. Maybe sometime later this afternoon. But we wanted to give you guys our thoughts on yesterday's preseason game, Dillon Gabriel's debut. A lot of good stuff to get into today. Before we do, though, remember, if you want to get thoughts and interests on the show, head to thedogspodcast.com, tap leave voicemail on the drop-down menu. If you're watching on YouTube, please like and subscribe. Tap the notification bell so you don't miss any of the content we're putting out. You can listen to the show on Apple and Spotify, and you can also find us on all the major social media platforms. Just search at the Dawgs Podcast. And lastly, if you're looking for more Dawgs content, head to jointhedawgs.com, become an official Dog Pack member on the Patreon page, get access to the private Discord, play fantasy football with us. The cutoff for that is right around the corner.
Friday.
If it hasn't already, it's Friday.
That's it, Friday.
So
Nobody after Friday.
Yep. So don't join Saturday and say, is there still room? There isn't. We got a whole bunch of leagues right now that I think we got 8 redraft leagues going right now. So
3 dynasties.
3 dynasties. There's a lot of moving parts to make sure like we get drafts set up and all this stuff. And it's literally people from all over the world. So we got to make a cutoff at some time. So don't miss out because you waited to the last minute. Again, the cutoff for that is Friday. And again, it's jointhedawgs.com. Become a Dog Pack member, play fantasy football with us, and get access to that private Discord. So let's just jump into the game. That's what we're all here for. I thought, I guess I'll throw it up to you guys first. Justin, like, what was your reaction to the game? More specifically, Dillon Gabriel.
Yeah, okay, that's what I wanted to take it to. I came away impressed, man. Honestly, we wanted to see him in real time game action. I talked to Josh right before you got on. I didn't think it was all pretty, but you know what? Like we said, we have to temper expectations. You want to see him make some good throws. Make good decisions, line the offense up. Was it all good? No, there was a couple mistakes. The turnovers obviously suck, but I came away like we have a good problem, personally.
Yeah, that's kind of what I was thinking too, man. Like, especially based on all those reports that we were getting out of camp that this guy just doesn't look good. I mean, Zach Jackson, a couple other people, I think Daryl Reuters saying like not an NFL quarterback, looks terrible out here, too small. Incompletions, against our defense, the Eagles D, all that kind of stuff. And then he came out and was sharp. The first couple drives, what was he, 100%? Just hitting all his passes, doing exactly what Kevin Stefanski wants to do, running the scheme correctly, being the perfect executioner of that system. It was impressive based on what we were kind of expecting from what we were hearing out of camp. I'm like, okay, this guy does look like he belongs in the NFL.
No, I thought he was better than advertised in terms of what reports are that we were seeing. I guess if I start, so you guys have kind of already touched on how he's been impressive. If I just start looking at then comparing his debut to Shadour's debut, and at the end of everything, I thought Dillon's got a crazy strong arm. Like he throws it on a frozen rope. Mm-hmm. He started off really great. I hated that he had 2 turnovers, and obviously the interception was screwed from everybody. It was everybody that 3 receivers all in the same area, but as the quarterback, just don't throw it,
right?
Mm-hmm. And then you got a tight end who reaches out to catch it and then pulls his arm, like just catch the ball, bro, like
or knock it down or something. It's like he was afraid of contact.
But then I didn't love too. Then he throws his pick and he just kind of like lackadaisical. I guess, I don't know, you don't want him to pull a Baker Mayfield and get his shoulder blown out in a preseason game trying to tackle, but like you're also in a quarterback competition. You threw a pick, I don't know, maybe show a little bit of, like a tiny bit of effort. And then I guess when I watched it, I thought he is better than some people are saying coming out of camp, but he's not as good as Shedeur Sanders. I thought at the end of that game yesterday, or at least the end of his time, it was, to me, nothing of that performance to me said this is the guy who should be stealing first-team reps while Shedeur is 4th. If anything, I got the impression it should have been opposite. Shedeur should be getting first-team reps, and Gabriel should be the 4th string. And I'm not saying that he can't play at all, but I thought he didn't look as comfortable in the pocket. I thought his size, looked like it could be a problem. Like a couple of his throws, he had to really get up on tippy toes, and was that sustainable? I also didn't like, once you got off the script is when he kind of got worse, and we saw Shador come out, and maybe you could say Shador struggled early, or at least like missed a couple throws, but he was up against ones. As Shador settled in and he was going 2s on 2s, 3s on 3s, you saw his play ascend. He got better as the game went on, and he settled in and got comfortable. And I thought Dillon kind of got worse as the game went on and got off of the script. 2 turnovers is a big deal to me, especially 2 turnovers, no touchdowns. I thought it was telling too. We got to the red zone. They didn't let him down inside that 5. They didn't let him really attempt a pass. Shador was throwing for touchdowns. Dillon Gabriel got to just turn around and hand it off a bunch of times. I don't know. It kind of seemed like they were like protecting him a little bit. And so to me, I watched that game and I thought Dillon Gabriel, better than advertised, still career backup. And I watched Shador play and I thought way better than the Browns are telling us they are by his depth chart position, and could 100% be the quarterback of our team next year and beyond. At least that was my takeaways from watching the 2 of them play.
Yeah, the scripted stuff, and I'll let you go here in a sec, Josh. I'm sorry.
No, you're good. You're good.
Dillon Gabriel did execute the script very well. Like, it was on target, delivered on time. Like, he was executing the plays very well. But like you said, like when he got off script is when things got a little chaotic, and that's when the mistakes started to show up. And then they sort of compounded as the game went on. The NFL rarely stays on script for very long. Like, it gets off script fast whether it's during the course of an entire game or just a single drive. You get off the script. And Shador being able to be that playmaker, to improvise and do, like, the way he rolls out and creates more throwing space and more throwing opportunities for himself, lets a play extend. That's the kind of stuff you need in the NFL.
Also, just, keep in mind, this is the floor. We're only 2 preseason games into this thing. It's not like this is it. This is the cap. Like, they're not going to develop any more from here. We're just getting our first glimpses of these guys. I think we're in a good spot. All I heard was, we don't have a quarterback in either of these guys down the road. Based on what media is saying from Cleveland, if we're taking a quarterback next year with one of those picks, I disagree with, based on what I saw from, both of them. I know it wasn't great. I agree with you on the turnovers, Blake. The one, throw it away. Just throw it away. And then the handoff, me and Josh talked about that too. It just looked like he didn't even get to the right spot. Like, he was just a little out of position. But I mean, like, if this is just the first glimpse that we're getting of both of these guys, I think this is not a bad problem to have.
No, I mean, if he plays the whole game, he's close to on pace to throw for 300 yards with a, like a 70% completion percentage.
Right.
But also he's on pace for 4 turnovers and touchdown passes.
Sure.
You know what I mean? So I watched him play and I thought he's got a strong arm, but everything I'm seeing out of him would it be sustainable for a whole game or for a 4-game stretch or a whole season? I just felt like I was watching a backup. I guess it's hard to explain, but that's just kind of like what I felt like I was watching. And and like you said, this was his first preseason action, like live game action. Right. So if he can get better from here, I'm not like selling his career. If I'm selling any QB on this roster right now, it's Kenny Pickett.
Yep.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm selling Kenny Pickett. I'm letting Joe Flacco be the starter at the beginning of the year, and I'm developing Dillon and Shador, because I think Shador is the quarterback of the future, but I saw enough out of Dillon to like at least be like, we're not complete idiots for drafting.
We're entertained.
Right. You know what I mean?
Point, yeah.
Well, and they drafted him, I think we all assumed, to be a good backup quarterback for this roster, thinking that they didn't have a shot at getting a starter this year, right? And you just said backup quarterback. He looks like he could be a high-end backup.
Yeah, and that's what he is.
Do you take a guy in the 3rd round, though, that you think is going to be your backup of the future? I don't know. And then do you give that guy first-team reps? I don't know. They're not treating him like they think he's the backup of the future, at least from my point of view. They took him with a top 100 pick, and they're giving him first-team reps.
That's true.
They're treating him like they think he's going to be a starter. And I think, if anything, if there's any quarterback on the roster that should be getting kind of like that leeway in terms of we think this guy could be the future, to me it's Shador. Like I think it was, you can say Dillon Gabriel operated the offense efficiently, and you can, in the same breath, you can still say Shador was better in his debut, like clearly. Where do you guys stand on the Browns right now in terms of outlook for the season? Now that we've watched 2 preseason games, we've seen 2 sessions of joint practices. Are you guys feeling better about how the season is going to go? Do you still feel the same, or are you like, man, we're even worse than I thought? Like, where do you guys kind of sit on the Browns right now?
I'll take it, Josh. I went into the season, like, to this point, my expectations weren't great. This is one of the first years where I went in where I was like, last year was awful, and man, this looks a lot like last year already, just from what I was, leading up to it. And then, like just the circus and everything. But after 2 preseason games, I'm very encouraged. I think our defense is going to be way, way better advertised than we would have liked to think. We knew they were going to be okay, but we worried that the offense would kind of leave them to dry. They look like they don't care. They look like their goal is to go out, stop the other team's offense, and win some games for the Browns. I'm cautiously optimistic heading into the season.
This episode is sponsored by Manly Bands. Browns fans, it is time to upgrade your ring game. Head over to manlybands.com/dogs and check out everything Manly Bands has to offer. Some of the coolest bands materials that you're going to find. I love going through and looking at everything in their Jack Daniel's whiskey barrel collection. I mean, you can get a wedding ring made from a Jack Daniel's whiskey barrel. That's awesome. They've got the Lord of the Rings collection. They've got DC Comics, and they've also got the other materials too. Gold, white gold, that kind of stuff. They've got meteorite. They've got dinosaur bone. They've got all kinds of stuff. And they have a ton of other gifts as well. They've got barware. They've got chains. They've got wristwatch. They've got all kinds of stuff. Anything you need if you're looking for manly rings and manly things, head to manlybands.com/dogs and make sure to use promo code CAMP25, CAMP25, to get an extra $25 off your order. That's manlybands.com/dogs, promo code CAMP25.
Since 1989, Mount Hope Fence has set the standard in outdoor living. From decks and railings to fences and patios, we've got you covered. Our lineup features top brands like TimberTech, Alumagard, Preferred Railing, and Unilock, along with our own premium Duralux vinyl products. For over 30 years, we've partnered with contractors ensuring reliable job site delivery. Discover quality and excellence in all things outdoors with Mount Hope Fence.
I would say back half of 2023 with unknown outcomes for each game, because that's kind of what it was. We were winning games despite some turnovers, despite some mistakes. We were winning on the back of strong defense and effective quarterback play from Joe Flacco and running Kevin Stefanski's offense. I think we're going to be more competitive this year than what we might have originally thought, because just seeing Stefanski's offense, the vanilla version of it in the preseason, it's like, oh, how refreshing after last year's catastrophe of Ken Dorsey garbage. Like, it may not be the most, modernized or, whatever, tricky offense out there in the NFL, but it is efficient and it is effective as long as you have a competent quarterback who can run it. And it looks like we do. It looks like we have at least 3 of them. And whether we win a lot of the games or not, I don't know. Games in the NFL can go one way or the other on just a couple mistakes here or there, a couple plays, but I think we're at least going to be more competitive than what we thought.
That's kind of, obviously we've won both the preseason games, and I thought, the defense, like you said, Justin, I think I said it yesterday, it might be a problem. We're not even watching Miles play with Mason Graham and all these guys. Like, I think Carson Schwarzenegger could end up being like the best defensive player taken in this draft, possibly. And that's including, in Mason Graham, I think is going to be, he's wrecking people by all accounts. Almost even more encouraging than the game is, from everything I read, the Browns kind of took it to the Eagles in their joint practice sessions. Like, the offense maybe struggled a little bit in day 1, but the defense was dominant. And then everything I heard out of day 2 was like the offense is starting to get clicking a little bit, and the defense is just suffocating. Like, the Eagles can't do anything. I think the one thing I saw was like Myles Garrett just basically would sack Jalen Hurts every play. Like if it wasn't practice and he wasn't just getting through and standing up, the Eagles literally would not be able to run a play. Nobody can block Myles Garrett. And so that's encouraging. That's almost even more. That's like more encouraging than the game, because that's the ones versus the ones, the best versus the best. So, like I'm with you, Josh. I don't know if I'm changing my outlook from like us being a 3 or 4 win team tops to all of a sudden I think we're a playoff contender. But I do think that we play way more competitive and we're in games. And like you said, maybe Dustin Hopkins misses 2 field goals, so it's a loss instead of a win. But I do think that we're going to be worth watching, and it seems like this draft is kind of doing what we said it needed to do. We said they needed to hit on multiple starters out of this draft. I kind of make this retool more of a quick 1-year retool as opposed to a multi-year rebuild. And it kind of seems like this draft, it's obviously early and it's only preseason, but it seems like we hit on enough players where this is going to be like a 1-year retool, possibly, where maybe we do surprise people and we make kicks and we push for a playoff spot. But then looking into the future, into next year and another draft and another year of free agency, like maybe we are like still like we're not going to just go off a cliff, I guess is what I'm trying to say. Like we're still going to be a relevant football team for years to come, because it appears that we hit on Graham, Schlesinger, Judkins will hopefully get signed here. Fannin, like we might have got out of this draft with 4 to 5, even 6 starters. That's huge.
Good, Josh. I think you're
see what Isaiah Bond has to bring to the table, because he was
more,
projected as, maybe a mid-second, I think, by most people. I mean, I was talking to somebody online today and it's saying, listen, Matthew Golden didn't have very, overwhelming college production or anything, but he went to the combine, showed off some elite, athletic traits, and he had enough on tape as far as wide receiver skill set to get him into the first round. I think Isaiah Bond would have definitely been a second-round pick. So if the Browns come away with, Judkins, Schlesinger, and Bond, and then Harold Fannin, who maybe, was a very, very high 3rd-round pick, like that right there's a core group of guys that you got in this draft that could really be helping us.
We left last year going, man, we got a lot of holes. We got a lot of holes on this team. The loss of draft picks, it's very evident. We got old very quickly. Blake, you nailed it. We had to hit on a lot of picks. I think we hit on a bunch of those picks, and then I think that there's 2 other guys, and, we're talking about Shador. He could probably, there's a really good chance that he could be our guy. And then the Bond signing is, I don't think it could be any more critical. I might not like it, but at a position where depth is extremely minimal, huge influx of talent.
When I kind of shift focus, then another guy who I've been super impressed with through 2 preseason games in this offseason so far is Amani Marshall.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna lie. I would keep him over Jerome Ford 10 times out of 10 right now. Especially if you're gonna get Quinshon Judkins under contract and you're gonna get him in the building, and by week 2 or 3, Quinshon Judkins is your number 1 back and Dillon is your number 2. Amani Marshall to me is a better 1st and 2nd down running back than Jerome Ford from what I've seen. He's got good vision. He runs with power. He breaks tackles. Like he seems better to me than Jerome Ford. Maybe he doesn't have the top end speed once he gets into the open field. I'm not sure what his 40 time and all that good stuff is, but he hasn't ripped a long one yet. But just on like a per down basis, I've been way more impressed with him in 2 preseason games than I've been at almost any point in Jerome Ford's career as I have been with him. So
we've seen some pass pro from Marshall too. Like last week on Shador's 2nd touchdown pass, there was a linebacker blitz and Marshall came across and picked it up. And that's, let Shador step to the right and make that throw.
I'm gonna be a little bit irritated if he's just kind of getting all this run because Quinshon's not here and Jerome Ford's hurt, and then it gets down to roster cut down time, and he's like one of the first names we hear cut. And it's just like, well, Jerome Ford's the guy, so he's here, so he just gets that spot. And I'm like, well, Jerome Ford, no.
What if they keep Pierre Strong over him?
Well, so hear me out. I know a lot of people aren't happy yesterday. I thought the run game looked great yesterday. I was happy with the run game for
132 yards.
Yeah, I watched us not have a run game for a whole season last year. Basically, I was super thrilled with all the Pierre Strong. Super happy with. I thought the vision was good. After contact was good. He kept churning for extra yards. I think Marshall. I like Marshall a lot. I think he kind of ends up being a practice squad guy. I think if we can get him on the practice squad, I would be extremely happy. I just don't think that they're going to cut forward, especially after restructuring him and everything. He's a Andrew Berry draft pick. I don't think he's going anywhere.
I just don't. We made him take a pay cut to come back to this team, and then he's done zero practicing.
Right.
So I don't understand why that would guarantee a roster spot. We obviously didn't feel good enough to bring you back at your value anyways. We made you take a pay cut to come back to this team. So I just, to me, I don't know. I thought Amani Marshall's looked way better to me than Jerome Ford has looked.
I'm not disagreeing with you, bro. The same reason that I watched us roll Sione Taki out there year after year, or Togiai or any of those other guys, would be the same reason I would tell you that they're not going to move forward.
I do think we're going to run the ball a lot better this year. We ran for 125 yards in that Panthers game, 136 yards, I think is what I said yesterday, 132 yards. I think you're seeing a commitment to the running game this year that we didn't have last year. Mm-hmm. And that's going to help whoever plays quarterback, whether it be Joe Flacco or Dillon or Shador or, God forbid, Kenny Pickett. Where do we stand, I guess, to kind of we'll rewind back to the quarterback position here a little bit. Are they going to take all four in, or is Kenny Pickett going to be gone? I just don't see a world in which what has Kenny Pickett done for this team to prove that he deserves a roster spot?
That's a great point, man. He's been nothing but injured. All of training camp. I don't understand how you can be in a four-way quarterback competition with one guy who's clearly the QB1. There's no question. They should announce that tomorrow. Joe Flacco's QB1 for week 1, all that stuff. Mm-hmm. You got these two rookies that you drafted, and they have already shown on the field in game action that they can play football in the NFL level. Then you got this other guy who's a failed former first-round pick, was injured during his first 2 seasons as a starter, and then last year was a backup, and now he's injured again, has gotten no training camp reps, has gotten no preseason reps. Why is he still QB2 in the pecking order?
I don't know. I did see a video with Andrew Siliano where he's talking. He's like, guys, the QB depth chart stuff, he's like, it doesn't matter. It
matters in terms of, but he's taken the first team reps still. When they go to 7-on-7s, it's Pickett and then Gabriel. Why is Pickett still getting reps? In 7-on-7,
I don't really give a shit about 7-on-7 reps. It's not real football. By all accounts, Dillon Gabriel looks really good in 7-on-7. Well, if this was the flag football league, then I would care about that.
I'm just saying if he's not going to be here, what's the point?
Reps I care about are 11-on-11, real football reps. But they said he was saying in a video, and he was like, there's coaches that don't even know the order of the depth chart. The media essentially puts that out. You'll go be like, hey, what about Shador at number 4? And somebody will be like, oh, I didn't even know that's where he was for today. So I guess the depth chart stuff is a little overblown. But in terms of who's getting reps is definitely important.
I think the Browns know, though, because it's clearly the order of reps has been the same. It has always been Pickett and then Gabriel before Shador. That has never really varied.
I do think that they have, I don't want to say explaining to do, but after watching Dillon in this game and then after watching Shador in his game, it's tough to come out and say Dillon's so much further ahead. You know what I mean? Shador didn't have any pre-snap penalties. I think one illegal motion. Didn't have to pop any timeouts to get organized. Didn't turn the ball over. Threw 2 touchdown passes. So it's hard to continue to drive that narrative when now everybody's seen it we've seen it with our own eyes. Who operated it better? You can say Dillon operated it good enough and still admit to yourself that Shador operated it at a higher level. So it'll be curious to see now that they've both seen game action what's going to happen. It's also tough to tell because this freaking oblique injury.
Yep. That is really throwing a wrench into this.
now they, he can not get reps and all this stuff, and it can just be, well, he's got the oblique injury. And it's just like, I don't understand how we have 4 quarterbacks, 3 of them in their 20s, and one of them carries an AARP card, and that's the one who's healthy. I don't understand how what's going on here. Who would have thought you'd have 4 quarterbacks and it not be enough in training camp? Like, we were real lucky to not having to watch Tyler Huntley play 4 whole quarters.
I know,
and not have a backup. Who would have been the backup?
Decision. We almost had to do that. That was insane. The thing with the oblique injury, though, they are reporting that the Browns are optimistic Shador can practice this week and hopefully play next Saturday against the Rams. And yesterday in the pregame, Shador was dressed yesterday for the game. Obviously, he wasn't going to play, but he was out there throwing to David Njoku before the game. So I think if the oblique injury was that bad that he was, at risk of missing a whole bunch of time this week, I don't think he would have been throwing out there, especially not where obviously everybody can see you and the cameras can see you. So that gives me optimism that it's not as bad as it could have been.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree. Like, if it was a tough injury, I feel like he would have been in sweats.
Yeah.
That kind of thing. So, kind of shifting focus to the defensive side of the ball for a minute. I think the Browns are going to have some tough decisions to make when it comes roster cut down because of how deep this defensive line is. Like, Isaiah McGuire looks good.
Dogs.
Alex Wright. Alex Wright looks real good. Joe Tryon-Shoyinka.
Dog.
Flash yesterday. Like, we got some dudes up front to where it's like, do we just keep all of them? And
I would keep Aiden Huntington, the UDFA, just because what he does on freaking kickoff
team.
Holy crap.
He is. It's been watching this defensive front without Miles, Mason Graham in limited action. You know what I mean? Like, these guys are getting after it. There's going to be some tough decisions. Like, who gets the nod opposite Miles? Because I feel like Alex Wright has played really well, and Isaiah McGuire's balling out too. They're both so is it even going to be? Is it going to be a one person opposite him? Or are they going to be? Is it going to be Miles and then a rotation, and you're just keeping somebody fresh on that opposite side of Miles over and over? I
think you kind of figure out as maybe the first few weeks play out too. Who's your better guy on like first and second down?
Yep.
When you're not really sure if it's going to be a pass or run, and then who's your pass rush? Like this is a passing down. Who is the specialist on that? It might be JTS just because of how he's so fast and his get off is insane. But it's a very good problem to have. This episode is brought to you by Baden Sports. Browns fans, it's summertime. Time to get outside and take advantage of the beautiful weather and play some backyard games. Head over to badensports.com, BADEN sports.com/dogs, and check out all their summertime gear. And for 10% off your entire order, just use promo code DAWGS, DAWGS, when you check out. Now, if you guys love pickleball, Baden Sports has all the gear you need, including a variety of paddles, balls, and complete pickleball sets with a pack-and-go carry case so you can play in the backyard or take it on vacation to play with the entire family. Baden Sports also has volleyball and badminton sets, croquet, horseshoes, bocce, and even Vikings chess. And no summer break is complete without some good old-fashioned wiffle ball. Plus, Baden has all kinds of different basketballs with special outer layers that are designed specifically for whatever surface you'll be playing on. So don't waste 1 second this summer. Head to badensports.com/dogs to get the backyard outdoor gaming gear that your family needs and get 10% off your entire order with promo code DAWGS, DAWGS, when you check out. That's badensports.com/dogs.
It's been encouraging. I think I saw at one point, it was like late in the game, or I don't even, maybe I'd have to go look at their team stats here real quick, but the Eagles had like 50 yards passing.
So they ended up with 88 total yards at the end of the day. What I was going to say is
they finished the game with 56 yards passing.
Yeah. Now,
55.
like, it's late in the game and you're still seeing heavy defensive line. I think it was Julian Okora yesterday. It was still like it was end of the game and these guys are still relentlessly, and we still haven't even seen the first team. Like you were saying, we haven't seen Malik Collins and Mason Graham and Myles Garrett, and the second and third team defensive line is feasting. It's going to be absolutely insane.
Like so we're talking yesterday. It's all relative, right? Because it was all second and third string guys for the entire game for both teams. This just speaks to the Browns' depth, kind of really both ways too. and what they're able to do, how things are trickling down, because we had 331 yards of total offense. And like Justin said, we held them to just 88. And again, I know this is a preseason game, but those numbers are staggering. 330 to 88. That is a humongous difference.
And you're talking.
How did we only win by 9?
Turnovers.
Yeah,
Yeah.
turnovers. Yeah,
Actually, yeah, and one of their touchdowns was for them on defense.
yeah, pick 6.
Yeah.
And it's Eagles are a deep roster. One of the
Yeah.
most deep, complete rosters. They're what we want to do. When you look at the Andrew Berry model, Howie Roseman has it figured out. He is loaded at every position, top to back.
Did we miss any kicks yesterday?
We almost did.
Almost did. It wasn't. It was close.
And we botched an extra point.
Well,
Couldn't
it was
get the-
what a bad snap.
Yeah,
man.
couldn't get the snap was bad. Couldn't
Rolled
get
it
it
back.
down.
So a bad snap. All I could think to myself was we had the bad snap yesterday, and I watched Charlie Hewlett not have a bad snap for his 35 years of service here. Why is Charlie Hewlett not still on this team? You know what I mean? I don't. That's like you have this guy who's the longest tenured Brown. He never messes up. He's like
Excellent at his
one of the
job.
one of the most reliable long snappers. Like, the only reason you know who he is because he's been here so long. If he wasn't, you would have no idea who he is because he never messes up. And then that's a guy that we decide to cut ties with. And I'm just like, why? Why? I feel like all these long snappers probably make around the same amount of money anyways. Like, no long snappers getting huge contracts. They're all on like 1-year deals for probably $1 million or something. Just bring back the guy who's been doing it here for 30 years. I don't know. I didn't understand that move. Obviously, I'm being hyperbolic.
Inside joke from yesterday.
In terms of how long he was here, but you get the point. I don't want to have to spell it out exactly what I meant to you.
Nobody
Anybody
watching or
watch-
listening to this is going to be like, what are you guys
Okay.
talking about?
Well,
Yeah, why?
can we
so-
bring something up while you're on the topic of this?
Go ahead.
Are we? Is this team going to make a kicking change before week 1?
Dude. They made a
Because
kick change
Change
yesterday.
yesterday, yes.
And went 2-2.
Yes.
I made an extra point. He had a 49-yard field goal.
Smith came out and put that 49er right down the middle, and
Yep.
I was like, I think I've seen enough.
I just think I don't understand how you could roll into a game with because you're not going to take 2 kickers.
No.
Right?
And
No,
4 quarterbacks?
absolutely
Hell no.
not.
So which means if you have a guy in the building who can do it and you cut him just because you have Dustin Hopkins and you want to give him, and then you get to week 1 and he misses 2 field goals and you lose to the Bengals, like, and then you're just going to be up creek without a paddle.
We're just going to go call Schmidt up and get him out here. We've got a chance to rebound next week. But
Just don't lose. I don't want to lose games because we can't make kicks.
Right.
Been there.
I don't want to, like, it's going to be enough of an uphill battle, and we have a tough enough schedule that if we have a chance to steal wins, I don't want to give that away because we missed a 35-yard field goal or we missed an extra point. Like that, I'll be so irritated.
Dustin Hopkins is clearly not right. He's not okay.
yeah,
Whether
something.
it's something physically after that hamstring injury 2 years ago, just has not healed correctly, and his mechanics just have never come correct, or mentally he's just not there anymore. Like, whatever it is, he is not okay. And I do not think that they can go into this season with him on the roster. I don't.
It's fair, man. I mean, I'm kind of with you on it. It sucks. He's been a guy that's been with this team. He was the answer to Cade York that we needed and was really refreshing. And the guy would go out there, trot out, and games that we'd go, oh, well, this is going to be a miss. We're going to lose this game. He started winning those games with kicks.
Yep.
I remember celebrating a Chargers win, and it was actually a loss. And then a year later on a missed kick, and then a year later I was celebrating a win with Hopkins on a kick. But you're right. He's clearly not right. Whether it is mentally, physically, it's a huge liability. He almost missed the one he kicked yesterday. It's and it's not really being talked about.
I guess then I was kind of looking at wide receivers. Obviously, the big news is we added Isaiah Bond. We saw Cedric Tillman yesterday make a catch. So I don't know if Deontay Johnson makes his team.
Yeah,
I don't
we were
think
talking
so.
about it. Yeah.
Like, talk about a guy that we knew that he had issues, but we all kind of thought, like, if he comes in with his head on straight, he could be a steal. Like, he could have been a super good signing for this team if he comes in. And it appears like his head's on straight, but he just doesn't seem like he's that good anymore.
Yeah.
Like, he drops the ball. He just not very good.
So based on what I read, we talked about this in, episodes past, but it sounds like he said the issues last year stemmed from not getting the playing time that he thought he deserved, being the type of receiver he is and over his career and all that kind of stuff. He's been running exclusively with the 2s and sometimes the 3s in camp. He's been playing in these preseason games. I kind of get the vibe from him, like, F it. Like, he's kind of just not fully bought in anymore to what we're trying to do. And it's showing that the drops, the poor route yesterday where he's running into Blake Whiteheart and all that stuff. I mean, I just don't think he makes this team.
No, it costs us nothing to bring him in here and then just dump him. And
Well-
it kind of sucks because, like, that was a guy I was like, man, he could be a sneaky good number 2 for us if he's got his stuff together.
Do you want him or do you want Larvidan?
Well, and even then,
Give
like,
Larvadane 100%.
roster spot wise, like, if it's going to come down to a roster spot, I watched that game yesterday and I go, I'd rather Jamari Thrash have that spot. If obviously he's not in danger of being cut, but I'm saying, like, if we're
Depth
going to
chart
talk about
spot.
if we're talking about starters, let me see that kid on the field, because that kid looked he looked great yesterday. He looked super comfortable. He looked awesome.
I was going to bring up Jamari Thrash. It's one of those things where disappointing rookie season last year, but I mean, who wasn't disappointing in this offense last
Right.
year? But I like what I see out of him in this preseason so far. Is it going to translate to, the regular season when he's going against starters and all that stuff? I don't know, but I've seen enough out of him to at least be intrigued and to like give him some of that opportunity, because he's strong with the ball and he's athletic and fast. Like, he's got like a little bit of mean in him, And so I've liked what I've seen out of Jamari Thrash. Like, he could be a sneaky guy for us this year.
He made a grab last week in the Carolina game. Shador kind of put the ball out in front of him a little bit, and he just plucked it out of the air, snagged it. It was like, that could have been an incompletion going through his hands and just skipped down the field, but he caught that thing, and it was moving. He had some hum on it, and that was a nice play.
I think your wide receiver positions are Jerry Jeudy,
Yep.
Cedric Tillman, Jamari Thrash.
DeAndre Carter, I still think, is a lock just for return.
Okay, so there's 4. So you're probably, we're probably carrying 6. Mm-hmm. So then you got, I think Gage Larvadane makes this team.
I think it's Bond and Larvadane.
Yep.
And Bond. Like, I think that's going to be your wide receiver core. And if Jerry Jeudy can repeat, if Cedric Tillman can stay healthy, and Jamari Thrash is ascending like it kind of looks like he is, and then Isaiah Bond is
What he's touted to be.
Yeah. Like, I'm not going to sit here and say we're the Bengals, but maybe it's not as dire as it seemed a month ago. You know what I mean? Like, before we got pads on and started seeing these guys play a little bit, because obviously there are some big ifs in there. If Jerry Jeudy can have a repeat number 1 wide receiver season, the big if is if Cedric Tillman can stay healthy for any kind of stretch, if Jamari Thrash can take some of this and translate it to against the starters. Those are obviously big ifs, but if you can hit even on 3 of your 4 ifs here, all of a sudden your wide receiver core is looking much better than you thought it was going to be.
Yeah, and then we were talking too, like, what do you think, Blake, about I feel like there's a difference between Gage Larvadane and Caden Davis, who have both played very well in the preseason, played very well in training camp and all this kind of stuff. But to me, Caden Davis seems like he's going to come out here and be that sort of impressive wide receiver in the preseason, but he's probably a practice squad guy.
Yeah.
If you're keeping him around. Whereas the stuff Gage Larvadane does, his skill set, the way he plays the receiver position, I feel like that is translatable to the NFL. And I feel like not obviously top 3 receiver on the team type stuff, but you can get him in there on a Sunday whenever a guy needs to come out, or you got somebody, in the medical tent for a minute, and he can come out there, run a route, maybe even be the third read on a play and make a play if he needs to.
I like the way he runs the ball too.
Yeah.
On these end arounds, and he's got good vision, and he's not, even though he's a smaller guy, he's not afraid to just like stick his foot in the ground, get north and south. Like he sees the hole, makes a quick cut, makes a decision, and gets going. I don't want to just keep him as just a gadget guy, because then, which the Browns have a history of doing that. This guy hasn't played in 3 quarters, and then we put him out there, and then we run an end around to him. And it's like,
they saw it coming.
Way to set that up, guys. You know what I mean? But I think if this is a guy, like you said, that if you're sprinkling him in the game throughout the game, and he's getting a snap or 2 in the first and a snap or 2 in the third, and then you come out in the third quarter and he's been on the field kind of organically, and then you hit an end around, he's fast and he gets north and south. Like he can give you a chunk play here and there. I don't know. I've been super impressed with everything I've seen out of him. I would, like I said, my 6 would be the Judy, Tillman, Thrash, Isaiah Bond, Gage Larvadain, and
Carter.
That would be my wide receiver core. My running backs would be Quinshon Judkins once we get him signed, Dylan Sampson, and I'd be rolling with Amani Marshall. Jerome Ford can go play somewhere else, in my opinion. And my quarterback would be Joe Flacco to start. And once the season's done, which could be anywhere between 3 to 5 games, I'd be rolling with Shador. And it would be seeing what we got as we head into next year, where we have 2 first-round draft picks. That's how I'd be doing things if I was running the team. Obviously, I'm not. I'm just sitting here in this room podcasting. But that's how I would do it, because I think there's some bright spots on the roster. Like I think we did well enough in this draft. And Fannon's going to make this team as a tight end, and he's basically a wide receiver. So does having Fannon make you only keep 5, so you can keep a roster spot free for one of these other positions, a defensive lineman, or if they want to roll with all 4 quarterbacks into the season? I
would say that would put you very thin, very just, based on like injuries that are going to occur over the season. I would still.
I'm saying, do you put do you keep Judy, Tillman, Thrash, Isaiah Bond, and Carter, and then you like practice squad Larvadain, and that because you have Fannin, who's going to play a lot in the wide receiver position. That way you can keep an extra defensive lineman or an extra DB, or if God, they don't want to get rid of one of these 4 quarterbacks or something, you have a roster spot available, since you kind of have like that hybrid tight end wide receiver guy.
This episode is sponsored by Southern New Hampshire University. Browns fans, do you ever feel stuck in your current job? Like if you just had a different degree or some more education in a certain area, you could do something you really want to do. Well, Southern New Hampshire University has the answers for you. Head over to snhu.edu/bark to learn how you can get started on your new career today. SNHU is one of the largest online accredited universities in the United States, and it's radically affordable. Their online tuition rates are some of the lowest in the nation. So seriously, what are you waiting for? Head over to snhu.edu/bark to learn how you can get started on your degree for your new career, 100% online and 100% on your time. snhu.edu/bark. I see what you're saying. It does make sense. I would hate to do it that way, because I agree with you. I think Kenny Pickett needs to go.
Yeah.
The whole point in having this quarterback competition was to narrow it down, not to just continue the freaking competition into the season. Like, let's
add
make a
more
decision
guys
here.
to it.
Add more guys and complicate it. No, we've seen what we need to see. Joe Flacco clearly is the one. Shador, I do think that he's the right guy, that he's the answer for that QB2 to transition to at some point. Keeping Kenny Pickett in lieu of trying to get Gage Larvadain onto the practice squad and maybe somebody, snaking him away from us, I don't know if I want to risk that.
I guess my biggest thing would be, even if it's not a quarterback, if it's to keep another defensive lineman who's going to give you 5 sacks this year over a wide receiver who, if he's the 6th wide receiver, is never going to play. Mm-hmm. Like, do you weigh that, and say, I'm going to take the 5 sacks of this guy and throw this guy in my practice squad, and just, if he gets poached, he gets poached, but I'm going to take the guy who I know is going to give me more on this team this year. That's why you get paid the big bucks, Andrew Berry, to make these kinds of decisions.
So one thing that I wanted to point out just on that topic too, as far as the D line goes, we might actually get depending on how things go here in the next 2 weeks, get gifted a spot because Mike Hall Jr. is still on the PUP. Coming off of that knee surgery. So I don't know if he's ready to start the season. So if he's not taking up a roster spot, that might let you keep one of those extra D linemen that you weren't going to previously be able to.
That's true. What's going on? Where are we at with him? Is he going to be back at any point? Talk about a rough start to an NFL career.
It hasn't been great.
I'm curious to see if we're going to get Quinshon signed before too long now.
I bet you we sign him today. By the time people listen to this or watch this, he might already be signed. We'll see. But
Bond's supposed to sign. Was supposed to sign last night.
Yeah.
So I would expect Judkins is going to be wrapped.
And I do want to say this. I've been seeing this go around social media this morning. Everyone's reporting it's expected to be a 3-year deal for Isaiah Bond. Everyone's like, oh, that makes him a roster lock. UDFA contracts are almost always 3-year deals.
Yeah.
So it's the money that I'm waiting to see. What kind of guarantees does he get? What's the overall contract? Because the 3-year thing is not a big deal. That's a typical UDFA contract.
Before we wrap up, I did want to talk. We didn't want to spend a ton of time, but what did you guys think of the Dillon Gabriel kind of quote after the game? What do you say? Something like, "Some people's job it is to entertain, and it's some people's job to compete, and I'm here to compete." What did you guys think it was? Shedeur stands, which I'm a Shedeur fan. I won't say I'm a Shedeur stan. I feel like there's a fine line between being able to want Shedeur to be our guy and also not just be stupidly pro Shedeur. They just took it and ran. This guy, he's calling out Shedeur. Shedeur is so much better than him, blah, blah, blah. I took it as more of a shot at some local Browns media. What did you guys think?
That's where I'm at. I took it as he was leading up to this game. That dude was under tons of pressure. All the Cleveland media, everything has been, hey, this guy's not that good. Is he going to play? Why did we take him in the 3rd round? So I think it was just him telling the media, hey, us, podcast guys, media, everybody, I don't really care what you guys have to say. I don't think it was a shot at Shedeur at all. I think it was just more Cleveland media.
Yeah, I think that especially when it happened live, there's a lot of noise. This was during the second half after he had just been taken out and Huntley was in there. So there's commotion going on. The game broadcast is going back and forth to the plays. So it was a little bit easy to get out of the context with it. But he did say, hey, because she asked him, Aditi asked him, how are you guys blocking out the noise and not letting it infiltrate the room? And he said, hey, there's entertainers and there's competitors, and I'm just, I'm here to compete. And she even said, as soon as he said that, she's like, okay, well, I'll let you get out of here since, you kind of just called me out on that. So she understood right away that he was saying, you're the media, you're the ones out here to entertain. I'm the player, I'm here to compete on the field. So she definitely knew exactly what he meant right away.
Yeah, and there's never been any part of Dillon Gabriel's demeanor or locker room presence that tells me he would take shots at players in the media. You know what I mean? That's just not the kind of dude he is or the player he is. I might not think he's as good of a quarterback, but I still think he's a solid dude in the locker room, a good locker room guy, so I just wanted to kind of put that to bed. I know a lot of people were taking it and running with it and saying he's calling out Shedeur, and let's just not make a thing of this, Browns fans. We got enough on our plate to worry about. We don't need to be deciphering things like this all week. Let's get our players signed and just kind of stay healthy, get through this last preseason game and get to the regular season and see if we can't start rattling off some wins. So did you guys have anything else you guys wanted to talk about from yesterday's game?
I just have one quick one, and I just want to say that I've been very impressed with the offensive line the last 2 games. Based on what we saw last year, I feel like they have come a long way. Whether it's to go back to Kevin Stefanski's, bread and butter, I've just been very, very, very happy with what I've seen.
We're not even seeing the unit yet.
Right.
Mm-hmm. The one guy that I am concerned with on the offensive line.
Ooh, I know who it is.
Who do you think it is?
I'm going to say Zinter.
It is Zach Zinter.
Yes.
Yes. Yeah. 3rd round pick from last year. Looks like he is
bullied
not
up yesterday.
Yeah. He's good. I'm concerned.
Yeah.
They blitzed that one linebacker, the one Dillon Gabriel. He had no shot. And he didn't move his feet. He just tried to reach and push him. I'm like, bro, slide your feet, do something.
It was such a stupid sack because he was one-on-one with the guy, wasn't he? All he had to do was get in his way, and he just Watched him go. I'm like,
He just
dude.
delayed him. It was not good.
No,
I agree.
not good at all. And you know, he missed last week. He didn't even go to Carolina last week because he was out with the injury, so he hasn't been practicing. He was a little bit up and down, rough looking last year as a rookie. It's like, dude, he was an older rookie too, so he's like 24 already in his second year, coming off the injury at Michigan. Just, I'm concerned. I'm just concerned about his progress.
That's fair.
But all right, well, we will wrap this thing up. Speaking of Michigan, what a joke! There's two
Should've
things
known.
There's two things I'm going to say here. One, the NCAA is soft and corrupt. The fact that you can make Ohio State vacate wins for trading tattoos, and you can take away a Heisman Trophy from Reggie Bush for USC paying for a house for his mom to live in, but you won't take away wins and vacate national championships and stuff. What you're saying they cheated. You're saying they cheated. You found them guilty of cheating, and you're saying, well, it would be a really long postseason ban, like multi-year, but none of these players and stuff were here, so we don't want to punish them. You punished Ohio State players. We had to have a postseason ban. We went undefeated.
We lost our coach.
Yep,
we
went
lost our
undefeated.
coach.
Yeah, we went undefeated and couldn't play in a bowl game, even though those players weren't there anymore.
New coach.
You had no problem doing it to USC. You give out this, just nobody's going to hire Connor Stallions. No, Jim Harbaugh's never coming back to college. So these show clauses or whatever, nobody, just the softest punishment. And then their coach got to pick what games he was going to suspend himself for. Just what a joke, an absolute joke. And then to Michigan fans who are like celebrating, like, oh, they didn't bring the hammer down. Ha ha ha. We told you so. They said you cheated. Congratulations, you got away with cheating. I hope you feel good about your tainted national championship. Like, you're happy that you didn't get in trouble for cheating. You're not saying we didn't cheat. You're just happy you didn't get in that much trouble for cheating to win your national championship. Everybody for all time will always know you won it because you cheated. Congratulations. Well, you're back in the dumpster. Welcome home. So that's how we'll wrap this thing up. God, I freaking hate Michigan. So, all right, we'll wrap this thing up. Had to dive into that. You said Michigan, it just set me up.
I'm glad I did.
So,
I'm glad I got you going on that. That was good.
yeah, I'm just gonna be storming around the house all day now. Wife and kid are gonna be
Josh said
scared
Michigan.
of me. But let's wrap this thing up so we can go about our days. We appreciate you guys listening. Let us know your guys' thoughts on the preseason game, what you guys think about the quarterback competition so far. How did Dillon Gabriel do? How did he stack up against what Shador did in his debut? Let us know what you guys are thinking about some of these roster cutdowns, all the good stuff we got into today. Just let us know in the comments or leave us a voicemail at thedogspodcast.com. Again, remember, if you want to play fantasy football with us, you have until Friday this coming week to get into the dog pack and sign up for fantasy football. If you want to play with us, just play with us this year. That is jointhedogs.com to become a dog pack member and play with us. Again, we appreciate you guys being here. We'll see you guys sometime next week.
Thanks for listening to another episode of the Dawgs Podcast. Make sure you subscribe on YouTube and follow us on Twitter at the Dawgs Podcast. Get your thoughts on the show at thedogspodcast.com.
This episode is sponsored by Butcher Box for Pets. Browns fans, we love our fellow dogs, our dog pack members, and the Dog Pound faithful, but let's not kid ourselves. The most important dogs in our lives are, well, our dogs. Your furry friends aren't just pets, they're part of the family. But the question is, what are you actually feeding them? Head to butcherbox4pets.com/products to see all the options for your dogs, including fresh and dry foods, treats, meal toppers, and even toys for your dog. If you're not sure what your dog will like best, try the Premium Nutrition Adult Starter Pack, and they even have a vacation bundle to take care of your four-legged friends while you're on vacation this summer. And right now you can get 20% off your order with promo code DAWGS, DAWGS, when you check out. At ButcherBox, they believe in real ingredients. Their pet foods have been developed and certified by vet nutritionists to contain zero artificial flavors or preservatives. You get protein-packed formula with over 50% of the recipe comprised of third-party certified humane ButcherBox meat, plus functional ingredients like pre- and postbiotics to support your dog's vitality and digestion. I know that sounds like a lot, but the bottom line is your dogs are getting the nutrition and the value they need and honestly that they deserve. I know our home wouldn't be the same without Odie, our 100-pound golden retriever who thinks he's a 10-pound lap dog. He is not, but it gives us peace of mind knowing that we're giving him quality food instead of just that factory processed garbage from the store. And speaking of the store, no need to go. ButcherBox for Pets delivers their high-quality food right to your door. So head to butcherboxforpets.com/products and use promo code DAWGS, DAWGS, for 20% off your order. It's time for us dogs to give our dogs the nutrition they deserve.